Hello everyone. So today's video is about why I didn't convert to Judaism, and it's also about Operation Protective Edge. So if you'll recall, if you've read any of my books, you will know that at one point in my life, during my second psychotic episode, I really wanted to convert to Judaism. Um, so about a year after my episode, which is about the cooling off period you want after an episode, I actually did go to a Jewish shul. Um, Not an Orthodox one, as you might imagine from the way I'm dressed, but I actually went to a Reform shul. And I'll keep the name anonymous because I don't want them to get undue attention. Not for any good or bad reasons. I just want to honor their privacy. And I absolutely loved it. I went to Torah studies, not a lot, admittedly, but I went to Torah studies and I loved it. And I went to services every Saturday, and I got a lot out of the singing and the prayers. And I was even though I never formally converted or went through the process of conversion, I actually was called to the Torah a few times, which I consider a huge honor, especially for a goy like me. Um, anyway, I totally, it was totally my thing, but I still decided not to convert, and here's why. Um, One time I was kind of hanging out at the shul after service, and that we were having some kind of lunch. I don't remember the details. Um, but I was sitting next to a lady, and I was wearing a headscarf, much like I usually do. Um, and for some reason, we started talking about it. And she leaned in to me and said, "I think hijab is crazy." And she went on and on and on. She went on this rant about how hijab is evil and how the Prophet Muhammad told his wives to wear hijab because he didn't want other men looking at them, which, Muslims will say is not what the hijab is at all. And just all this stuff. And you could tell that she was carrying some baggage. And so I kind of, excused myself when I could. And I left the shul that day. But another thing that happened was that somebody was giving a talk on liberal Zionism, and I was sitting in kind of, the middle row, I think, and I was listening to this talk, and it just sounded nuts. Um, I didn't agree with it at all. Um, but then I'm not sure if this was during the talk or sometime after. But there was also a guy saying that you can't be both Zionist and a feminist. And the, it does make sense because a lot of intersectional feminists these days seem to reject Zionism. But one of my best friends, who is an Orthodox Jew, is very much a feminist, and he is a Zionist. So I knew that he was wrong, and I knew that, it's not common to have a feminist, an intersectional feminist who's also a Zionist, but it is possible. Um, and the same guy was explaining cultural appropriation to his friends, and he was totally misrepresenting it. And he was making it out to be something it wasn't, and he was making it out to be this ridiculous thing, which it isn't. So in case in case you guys need an explanation of cultural appropriation, what cultural appropriation is that it's it's taking something that is sacred to one group and mis stealing it for your own purposes, basically. And it's generally done by, cultural appropriation is generally done by a dominant group towards a marginalized group. So a good example would be the Victoria's Secret show. I don't know much about this, but apparently they had one of their models wearing a Native American war bonnet at some point. So war bonnets are sacred to the Native American tradition, but the Victoria's Secret fashion show was using it for their own kind of trivial purposes. So that's cultural appropriation, not eating at an Italian restaurant like this guy was saying. Um, so honestly, those reasons were the main reasons why I left. I just saw that behind, well, yeah, what more do I need to say? So if you liked this video, please like it, subscribe it. Oh, subscribe to my channel. And yeah, like, subscribe. See you next week, guys. I'm doing Operation Protective Edge.